Tonight on CTV News, we have an inside look at how CSU honors veterans and highlights from this Saturday's football game.
Then later on, we ask students about the usefulness of the underpass on Shields and what CSU students are doing for fall break this year. All this and more on CTV News starting now. Good evening, Rams. I'm news anchor Litos Castro.
And I'm Stuart Smith. Let's get started. A beloved member of our CSU community has tragically passed away. 28-year-old Eric Neal Kudlow was a student at Colorado State University and was a research intern at the PCODE laboratory. Eric was a musician and enjoyed hiking, skiing, and tennis. He was deeply loved for his kindness and humor by his brother and sister and all his family. The service was on Friday, November 10th at Greenwood and Myers Mortuary in Boulder. Please visit www.greenwoodmyersfuneral.com to offer condolences.
As most of you know, Veterans Day took place this past weekend, and here's a look at what a couple groups here at CSU did in honor of the holiday.
This past Friday, a national roll call was held here on the CSU campus where volunteers from the Fort Collins community read out the names of approximately 7,000 military service members who have passed since September 11th, 2001. It was clear that the goal of this event was to honor and pay respect to all of the men and women who have given their lives in service of this country.
Remember that those rights come from somewhere. They're guaranteed by your Constitution, but enforced by the service members of our military.
While events like these are definitely worth something to the holiday, one student felt we could do better in giving veterans the recognition they deserve.
Honestly, I don't think it gets enough credit, the people who have died and given their lives just so that I can walk free.
Another student we spoke with also wanted to remind others of the fact that the soldiers aren't the only ones who are going through a stressful situation.
So I think just thanking the families of military members could go a lot farther than thanking the military member, because they go under just as much, if not more, stress and pressure than the military members do, with a lot less recognition.
In the end, one veteran just has a few messages for the people of America.
Yes, despair is not an option. Peace is possible. There's nothing human beings can't accomplish if they're united.
If you weren't able to stop by the roll call this year, we encourage you to stop by next year.
The Colorado Department of Revenue plans to start a process to determine the state's stance on taxi and online streaming services after a dispute between Netflix and the city of Loveland. Loveland demanded Netflix pay $120,000 in unpaid taxes on its streaming service. The online DVD rental and streaming video company sued the city in response, alleging violations of state and federal law. After the lawsuit was filed, Loveland rescinded the tax bill, asked for the lawsuit to be dismissed, and asked for guidance from the state. Netflix agreed with the dismissal, but not the possibility of opening the issue up again at the state level. A judge has recently dismissed the case.
After years of research, Susana Munoz is preparing to present her findings on the cultural issues that both undocumented students and students protected by the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, or better known as DACA, face in Colorado. The presentation, titled Interrogating Legality and Campus Climate: How Undocumented and Documented College Students Experience Institutional Legal Violence in Colorado, will focus on the cultural impact of rescinding DACA and the 2016 presidential election. Munoz, an assistant professor in the Colorado State University School of Education, will be presenting her research paper to faculty and students tomorrow in the Laurie Student Center, room 312, from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Since the opening of the new underpass at Shields and Elizabeth here in Fort Collins, many students have expressed distaste for its lack of safety. When this new underpass opened in August, many students felt uncomfortable with it. Its long, sweeping blind turns, combined with its lack of safety precautions, made some students just avoid it altogether. However, in mid-September, the university added new precautions, including mirrors on every corner, a line in the middle to denote the two lanes, and signs that said "Do not pass" and "Slow" on both sides. Del Rey Ciaravola of the CSU Public Relations team said that in the first month before the precautions were installed, they heard of several accounts of people being in incidents in the underpass, but have not heard of any additional accidents in the last 2 months, since the university made some additional alerts and prompts in the tunnel to improve user behavior. However, incidents have definitely happened. Here's Melissa Leavenworth, who had a concussion from an accident in mid-October.
My friend almost hit me, but he kind of zoomed by, and I glanced back at him, and then when I looked forward again, somebody else was coming right at me. He's an average sized man, but I'm pretty small, so when we our bikes collided. He like hit me off of my bike and I smacked my head on the concrete. But I started to walk home and I couldn't like see right. Like I could only see like the top half of my visual field, and then the rest was like prismatic vision, like really colorful like triangles and stuff.
Now here's what some everyday users of the underpass had to say about it.
It's not safe. I don't feel like it's safe at all. And when I'm walking through it, I feel like you get hit by a bike that's going way too fast. And when I'm biking, I can't see like who's under the pass, so you have no clue.
As long as you're taking kind of slow, the corners aren't that bad, but I know other people don't, so it kind of makes me nervous. And there's like mirrors, and they have kind of limited use, honestly.
I think the Shields underpass is a little bit dangerous the way it's designed. I think there's a few too many blind spots, and the mirrors that they put up to correct for that don't do a very good job. Also on the other side, on the west side of Shields, the pass over to the other side of the street isn't quite as drawn out as it should. Some people just go straight by and there's some collisions there. Overall, I think it's pretty dangerous with the 4 blind spots.
The university is focused on continuing to educate people about safety down there, and CSU PD will continue to enforce safety precautions in the tunnel.
The 7th annual cyclocross by Cross of the North made its debut appearance at New Belgium Brewery this weekend, and Colorado State University students raised money to aid those affected by Hurricane Maria in Puerto Rico. Cyclocross is a competition welcoming nearly 1,000 bikers of all ages to participate in their cyclocross races. Bikers compete in 8 to 12 different races that begin at 8 a.m. The track is approximately 3 kilometers, and racers make around 4 laps per race. CSU Communications professor Beth Myers-Bass participated at the event, selling raffle tickets to raise money for disaster relief in Puerto Rico and California. She invited her students to aid in this event. Several students helped her raise $200 by making their rounds at the event on Saturday. She expected to raise between $400 and $500 plus tangible donations to deliver to the American Red Cross. That's all the time we have for news this evening, Rams. Have a wonderful and safe fall break.
But don't go anywhere, because the president of ASCSU, Josh Silva, is in the studio and is coming up next after the break.
They said I couldn't dream. Called me a piece of trash and swore that's all I'd ever be. Said a bottle couldn't see the ocean. Give up. Go back to the dumpster. But I didn't listen. I made my way. And now, I am what I've always wanted to be.
Good evening, CSU. I have ASCSU President Josh Silva here today to ask him a few questions about what's going on in ASCSU. So first off, you've been they introduced the impeachment proceedings. They introduced the impeachment proceedings week 1 of ASCSU, and just how do you feel about that?
You know, I think in any case, I mean, there's so many times that you look at the situation and wonder, with all the different methods that we have for resolving disputes and differences, why the first week and why pursue the most extreme option as the first option. Okay. So why did you originally run for president? Like, what were you hoping to accomplish? So I ran for president. I think every year, you know, we talk about the culture of ASCSU internally and externally. And so I ran on, you know, really trying to establish positive partnerships with different stakeholders across campus, and then just internally really focus on actually using the enormous budget we have and all the resources to do some good for the students. We ran on a lot of stuff improving transportation and Ramride, along with looking at U+2 and that positive game day experience, which we've set up through the 12th Ram tailgating. Okay. Do you think the impeachment proceedings have affected the amount of things that you've been able to accomplish so far from your promises? Honestly, I think absolutely, because, you know, it's amazing, the executive branch, we've been able to get, and the Senate too, to an extent, we've been able to get a lot of stuff done. You know, in a meeting with admin, we talked about some initiatives that we want to work with them on when it comes to learning analytics, and we've set up our first community service projects, along with, you know, we started a composting facility in the office. We are coordinating strategies for student needs down at the state capitol. We partnered with the Health Network to launch the first ever kind of CSU Health Fair, where student orgs related to health needs kind of talked about, you know, showcasing their talents and resources available to students, and all the technology initiatives that we're working on through the new position we created. Obviously, Ram Ride stuff is still in the works, and that new tailgating experience, 12th Ram, that we crafted from scratch. And I look at that, and that's a lot of stuff. And obviously, the U+2 study, which I think has escaped past presidents and past administrations, we were able to secure. But you know, I look at all that, and we talk about that with administration, and I think about, like, it's a lot of stuff, and I wonder, what if we had passed twice as many bills, you know, or what if we had done twice as many things if this wasn't going on? It's just sad that it's sapping up so many people's energy in the organization and so many people's time and resources, when you know, most people would look at it and say could be resolved with a simple mediation or dispute, you know, resolution process.
Cool. So tomorrow's agenda for ASCSU was released, I believe, yesterday.
Yeah.
And it basically looks like the entire thing is just going to be about the impeachment. So what do you expect from tomorrow's Senate meeting?
I expect to not have a ton of expectations. You know, Senate is as Senate does, and I know, in terms of me, you know, I'm just going to come in and tell the truth and tell the facts as I saw them. I have no incentive to lie to anyone, whether it's to the media, to the administration, to the students, or to ASCSU, or to the Senate. So I'm just going to go in and tell the truth and tell the facts, and hope that people in their hearts are moved and see that.
Okay. Do you think there's a chance that you could be impeached?
You know, Stuart, I get asked that question a lot since this whole thing started, and my response has always been, you know, accusations have been made that are very kind of heavy-handed and, like, salacious, but you look at the actual case of what's going on and the actual charges and evidence I've submitted, and pretty much the reaction across the board, whether it's the students who've, you know, just going to class come up to me and say that they think it's petty, or faculty members, staff members, administrators in the Board of Governors to an extent, you know, talking about the reaction just kind of being, looking at the evidence and going, oh, well, that's it? Like, there's nothing there. I mean, just the fact that it's been 12 weeks and they're still struggling to articulate a really clear reason as to what the charges are and why they believe they're impeachable, despite the fact that our Supreme Court looked at the same thing and essentially dismissed it with a warning, is beyond me. So, long story short, to answer your question, you know, I think most rational, kind of well-informed bodies that look at the facts and the actual occurrences would look at this and not make that decision, but I want to respect their decision regardless, and they have the right to do as they choose.
Okay. And if you do get impeached tomorrow, what are you going to do? What's your next plan?
Well, my plan, well, I will be on a plane heading to Mexico on the Todos Santos exchange trip that we're doing with the Autonomous University down there. Beyond that, I think just, you know, jumping back in and looking for ways to continue serving the students and just finish the work that we started when it comes to safe transportation and game day and other things like that. Impeachment or not, you know, I'm not going away. I think there's a lot of good that can be done here, and I'm hell-bent on doing it until I graduate.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
For more information, please visit www.collegian.com and stay tuned for Zach Trombetta with the weather for this week and the best ski resort of the weekend.
Listen, I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you judge me for having a problem. No one is going to know that I need help. I need help. I know that no one is going to judge me for having a problem. I realize that I'm not perfect, but it all really started to change because you...
So, same time next week?
Well, of course. Put away a few bucks, feel like $1 million. For free tips to help you save, go to Feed the Pig.
Happy Tuesday, folks. Weather anchor Zach Trombetta here. I hope you guys all had a fabulous weekend. Maybe went out and checked out the tough loss on Saturday night from our Rams. But overall, it was a nice weekend here in Fort Collins. Let's take a look outside right now in Old Town. They got the lights up. Get down and check that out. Right now, though, 48 degrees. Pretty calm winds. However, that wasn't the case about 15 minutes ago when I left class. Felt like I needed a ski coat walking home. Sunset tonight was at 4:43 p.m. and we'll have a mostly clear night here in Fort Collins. Let's take a look at overnight lows. Here in Fort Collins tonight, 29 degrees. Out on the Eastern Plains, Greeley, you'll be at 28. In Burlington, 28 degrees as well. Lyman, you're going to have a lot of wind the next 2 days, starting tonight. You can see gusts up to 20 miles an hour and into tomorrow morning with 30-mile-an-hour gusts. I really suggest bringing in anything you have on your porch that might get blown away. Down south in Lamar, 29 degrees. Denver, you'll be at 30 tonight. In Colorado Springs, 31. Our friends down in Walsenburg, 36 degrees. In the high country, pretty cool temperatures. 28 in Aspen, 25 up in Steamboat. In Grand Junction, 30 degrees. Let's take a look at tomorrow's highs. Starting here in Fort Collins, 51 degrees tomorrow here. Lyman, you'll be at 54. AM winds, remember that. 54 in Burlington and 59 down in Lamar. In the high country, pretty warm temperatures. Scarin Ski Resorts, 53 in Telluride. Aspen, you'll be at 55, and up in Steamboat, 54. In Grand Junction, always warm, 64 degrees tomorrow as a high. Let's take a look at the 5-day forecast now. Tomorrow, like I mentioned, 50 degrees here, 29 as your low. Into Friday, though, pay attention to this day because if you're traveling out of Fort Collins, going home for Thanksgiving break, you're going to have some rain and some snow in your commute down to DIA or to wherever you're going Friday, and that will last up until about 4 p.m. After that, it should clear. Into your weekend, partly cloudy on Saturday with a high of 46 and a low of 27. And then to cap off your week, sunny on Sunday, 55 with a low of 31 degrees. Let's take a look at the ski resort of the week now. Now, I made this morning when Vail was planning on opening this Friday. However, that is not the case. They have postponed and they were now planning on opening on November 23rd. However, if you do have an Epic Pass that works at Vail Resorts, you can use it at Keystone, A Basin, and Breckenridge. They'll be open. They're all open right now, as well as Copper. Now, for your tomorrow's forecast, we'll be sitting at a temperature of 50 degrees tomorrow with a low of 29. It will be sunny in the morning. Tomorrow night, though, afternoon clouds. We will have some winds as well come in tomorrow night. They'll be coming out of the northeast, and a sunrise tomorrow morning at 6:47 a.m. and your sunset at 4:42 p.m. Now, fall break. I hope you guys all have a great break. Stay safe and stay tuned for sports with Alex next.
Told me a bottle couldn't dream. That I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly. Just to come back in a new disguise. And be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Welcome back from the break. I'm Alex Clough, here to catch you up on all the sports news from the weekend. What a football game on Saturday. Colorado State took on Boise State at 8 at night at home and sadly lost 59-52 in overtime. This game was a state pride game where the Rams showcased their new Colorado flag uniforms. The Rams looked to beat the Boise State Broncos for the first time ever, and they sure came close, but not close enough. Boise State is currently the leader of the Mountain West. Senior quarterback Nick Stevens threw his 65th career touchdown pass, which makes him the new school record holder for touchdown passes. He just surpassed Garrett Grayson, who had 64 touchdown passes. He finished the night with 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. Dalen Dawkins had a great running game. He rushed for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. He had a career high of 32 carries. Michael Gallup, who is the nation-leading receiver, went for 102 yards and a touchdown on 11 receptions. Now on the defensive side, Josh Watson led the team with 11 tackles, and Evan Colorado had 11 tackles, 1 sack, and 2 tackles for loss. Safety Jordan Fogel had an interception. It was a tough loss for sure, but the team has just one more final game of this season against San Jose State at 1:30 in the afternoon at the new stadium. The Colorado State men's basketball team opened up their season last weekend with a game against Sacramento State. CSU won 72-61. CSU found themselves trailing 35-34 in the first half, but this sparked a 9-0 scoring run following a driving layup from J.D. Page. Junior guard Prentice Nixon led the team with 16 points. Page had 15 points and Deion James had 10 points and 8 rebounds. Forward Justin Strings led Sacramento State. He had 19 points and 11 rebounds. Following the game, Coach Eustace said, "So our team is very young, and you could see it. You could see it with all of our body language." Tip-off just took place at Moby Arena against Winthrop, who is the defending Big South Conference champion. Follow the CTV 11 YouTube page because I'll have sport updates on that game later tonight. The Colorado State women's basketball team could not have asked for a bigger win than what they had last night. The CSU Rams beat the Gonzaga Bulldogs 65-49. This was one of those games that people did not expect CSU to win, considering Gonzaga won the West Coast Conference last season, and they also went on to the first round of the NCAA tournament. Gonzaga quickly took a 20-9 lead in the first quarter, but after that, they struggled making shots. CSU's biggest advantage was the fact that they shot 44% from the arc, opposed to the Bulldogs, who only shot 8.3%. CSU had 5 players that scored in the double digits. Both Sophie Tegetson and Laura Devos had 12 points, and Steen Askelin had 11 points. Annie Brady was a key player for the Rams because she brought 11 points and 15 rebounds to the table in just 19 minutes of play. After the game, Coach Williams said that was a great win against Gonzaga, a Gonzaga team that probably isn't going to lose too many games this year. The team plays again this Thursday against Eastern New Mexico at 7. Sadly, the Colorado State volleyball team ended their 15-game winning streak on Saturday against San Jose State. The team won the first and third sets of the match, but San Jose's defense was able to put a stop to CSU. Brianna Reynolds led the team with 15 kills, Kirsty Hillier added 13, and Paulina Hogard Jensen added 11. A big issue for CSU on Saturday was their serving. There were 14 service errors, and the Spartans were also able to get 8 aces in the match. The volleyball team takes on Fresno State tomorrow at 7 at Moby Arena for the final conference match of the season. For more sport updates throughout the week, be sure to follow the CTV 11 YouTube page, and don't go away because Kiaira Coles is up next with entertainment with an inside look at what students have planned for this fall break.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes, but with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
You are listening to 90.5 KCSU Fort Collins with DJ Meanbeat,
DJ Nightshade, DJ Wildcard. Music to me is
one of the best creative outlets that I can think of.
An escape from the real world.
Music to me is an expression of love.
Go from like folk to hip hop to like classic rock, 1960s bossa nova. With music, there's like no boundaries.
I work here because I love music, and you do too.
What's up, Rams? If you don't know by now, I'm Kiaira Coles with the inside scoop on all things entertainment. Let's get started.
In preparation for fall break, I caught up with some fellow Rams to hear about plans.
Fall break is just probably like de-stress. Sleep more, have fun with sleep, eat healthier, and then I'm going to work on everything.
I think the food is what I'm most like excited for, or just like sleeping in. Sleeping. Food and just relaxing.
Going back home to Oregon and spending time with the family. Ooh, just no homework. Straight up.
Ham, mashed potatoes. This may sound really weird, but the canned cranberries are my favorite part.
Dessert is always my favorite part of any meal, so probably whatever we make for dessert.
I know we kind of switch it up every year. Sometimes we go out and eat, sometimes we stay home. We don't really make a lot of turkey. We just kind of like pretty non-traditional, which is kind of fun.
Mashed potatoes. Yeah.
You have all the time in the world to just like relax and take it at your own pace. Yeah, just de-stress, do something that's not school related, and just kind of go out, have fun, I don't know. I say give yourself a time limit while you're studying and treat yourself to maybe some coffee or like time with friends outside. Activity is really important. And just remembering that it'll all work out even if like it won't. Just take care of yourself, eat, sleep, lots and lots of sleep, lots of sleep.
We're so close, just 4 more days until a much-needed break. If you are planning on staying in Fort Collins over the fall break, you definitely will not be bored as there are multiple activities to do. Kicking off the fall break, on Friday you can visit the 2nd annual holiday tree lighting, complete with Santa's arrival at the Foothills Mall. The event is free and fun for the whole family with many activities for everyone. In addition, U.S. national ice skaters will show off their skills on the frozen pond right outside the mall. You definitely won't want to miss this jolly celebration. After you're done chilling with my main man Santa, I have to say that or he won't bring me any presents, head on over to the Fort Collins Foodie Walk, which takes place on the 3rd Friday of every month and brings together all lovers and consumers of food. The event is free and open to all those who want to participate. Now after you fill up your stomach, you might want to work all of it out to leave extra room for turkey next Thursday. If that's the case, Fort Collins is having a turkey/donut predict 5K on Saturday. Now this is not your ordinary 5K run. At the start of the race, participants will actually predict how fast they think they will run the race. The top 5 people who come closest to guessing their time will win a free turkey. Personally, I don't run for much, but if food is involved, you can definitely catch me in that race. Tickets are on sale now for the newest UCA play, Love and Information. The play, written by Carol Churchill, is an exploration of 21st century human connection and sharing of information. This unique production contains no outline characters, settings, information, or props. The show is broken up into 7 sections during which the actors and actresses address some form of societal communication. The director, Laura Jones, who has been teaching and directing at CSU for 23 years, says the play is more of an intellectual Saturday Night Live where the audience is constantly analyzing communication. Tickets for the show are free to all full-fee paying CSU students. Additional information about ticket purchases can be found at www.csuartstickets.com. Taylor Swift is back with her new album titled Reputation, which dropped last week, and let's just say anyone hoping that she would return to her country roots, you can let that dream go. According to Taylor herself in her song Look What You Made Me Do, the old Taylor is dead. This new album is pop mixed with an alternative rock vibe. Reputation has already surpassed $1 million in sales and is this year's best-selling album, topping Ed Sheeran's Divide. Swift also announced plans for her Reputation World Tour dates, which will kick off on May 8th in Arizona. Tickets are on sale now. Stars flew halfway around the world this past weekend to be at the annual MTV European Music Awards at the SSC Arena in Wembley, London, United Kingdom. Performances of the night included Camila Cabello singing her hit Havana, Travis Scott rapping Butterfly Effect, on top of an animatronic bird, by the way, and Demi Lovato belting out her hits Sorry Not Sorry and Tell Me You Love Me. In addition, Eminem made his comeback, rapping his first live performance of Walk on Water. U.S. winners of the night included Kendrick Lamar winning Best Video with Humble, Shawn Mendes winning Best Artist, and Dua Lipa winning Best New Artist. If you can't get enough of these award shows, not to worry. Back here in the U.S., the American Music Awards will take place on Sunday on ABC. Well, that's all I've got for you tonight, Rams. Have a wonderful fall break, and don't forget to tune into our very last Tuesday show of the semester on November 28th. Have a great night.